Hey folks, welcome back to the bench and to a video, finally. All right, what I'm going to do here, this is just going to be a quick overview of the Class 1 ModelWorks small transformer. I figured, I might as well do this since I am a transformer guy. And the other reviews I've seen, I think TSG Multimedia did a review of all the loads. It's a good watch. But it's obvious, to me at least, the two people who were reviewing the Transformers, they did not know Transformers at all. It's okay. It's still a good video, and I highly recommend it. Again, I think it's TSG Multimedia. So I'm going to go look at this thing from the eye of a Transformer guy and kind of see what it looks like. I really have no need for this on my layout, but it was a nice load, so I got it. All right, so that's the way it comes packaged in a nice case, nice little blister case. Again, that's a small unit. I don't have any other loads. I don't have their large transformer, so I can't review that because I don't have it. All I have is a small one. So if we slowly pan over here, here's a unit. Get some light on. Again, this is all handheld at my workbench, so I apologize if it's a little wonky. Let me try to get this here. So what I did to this unit, that's the way it looks out of the package. This is the one side, and I'm going to try to point to different things. I cut off the cast-on valve I have here, and I used I think it's a cow scale valve. To me, this looks better. I didn't mess with the main drain valve. I left that alone. It's got relatively nice, these are mounting for the radiators. And they're blanked off. So they could be different sizes, which they are, which is prototypical. I mean, the radiators are all removed, and these they're probably steel. They're bolted on to the flange covers on the side of the unit, but that's okay. And there's 2, 4, 6 on this side. There's 4 off of the end, and then there's another 6 on this side. I don't know what this is. I don't know. Again, I don't have the outline drawing, so I can't, check this for prototypical accuracy totally. It comes out of the bottom, so it's obviously under oil. It comes out here. There's a valve and a valve, and then there's a blanked off connection right here. I don't know what it's for. And don't say, oh, it's for oil to pump. No. These units normally have their own oil, and they do not connect to other oil. So I don't know what this is for. But I'm not saying it's not prototypical. I just don't know exactly what it is. Okay. The one thing I can tell on the end here, this load tap changer, it's too small. It's too narrow. Especially if you look at their prototype photo, and they do have one. And I'll show that, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But this is much too small. This top part is the load tap changer. The bottom part is the control cabinet. So what I did, if this shows up, it might be a little bit too gray, but I scribed a line across here. Those are the doors. These are under oil. This is the load tap changer up top. This is the control cabinet on the bottom. And I added these precision scale, look like latches. The latches that were on it just looked way too big. So I carefully sanded them off, and I glued these on. I'll show you the number for these in a moment. Otherwise, it looks okay. It's got what looked like sight gauge. I don't know why they're there. But again, I don't have the prototype information, so I can't argue that because I just don't know. On this side of the unit, again, there you can see the bottom. But this is the main drain valve. This is probably the bottom filter press. I added another valve over here so you can drain the oil out of the load tap changer compartment, and that valve is on the prototype photo, so you will see that. And this is the liquid level gauge for the LTC compartment. Now, this is too big. These are normally 6-inch diameter. This is about a foot diameter, but whatever. I'm not going to cut it off and mess with it. It's got some nice conduit and conduits for the various runs. Nice. It's got conduit coming in here, and this runs over. This is probably for all the fan wiring to come in. It does have those conduits, so that's pretty nice. I'm not really sure what these two protrusions are. If you look at the side of the unit this way, right here, This up top, a little bit too small, but that's okay. This is for the resistor for the hotspot CT, and down below it are for the wells. And that looks exactly like a GE, because I have the GE instruction book for that, and well, for both of these actually. So that's how I kind of think this is a GE transformer. There is an engraving here on the side. Maybe you can see if it focuses. I don't know if it's focusing or not. I'm not sure how well I'm holding it, but right here is what they have as a nameplate. That's not the right way. On the prototype photo, it's longer. It's a rectangular nameplate, and man, it looks a lot like a GE nameplate. That's why I say this is a GE unit. An early GE unit, but a GE unit nonetheless. This little 4-bolt hole connection here is most likely, again, I don't have the prototype information, but I think it's for a J relay that would bolt onto that. That's a sudden pressure type device. It's under oil. It operates. It's allegedly supposed to operate in about, I think, 3 or 4 cycles, which, by then it doesn't matter. The transformer's failed. And I've never seen one actually save a unit, but they have them on there. I think that's what they're, because it would bolt on. So that's what that looks like. The top, again, I can't argue because I don't have the prototype information, but I don't know why on the front and back, which is the low side and the high side, why those bushing accesses are the same size. Unless it's an auto transformer. I don't know. But they wouldn't normally be the same size. It looks like manholes, I guess, 4 manholes down the center. If these guys have a photo of the top, then okay, I can't argue that. But, they're up a little bit, so they look like they're on, hi-hats or standoffs, which these would normally be bushings. Bushings are on standoffs. The manholes are on manhole flanges right on the cover. So, but again, I don't know. I don't know. I did add, let me come down there. This is a little hokey. Again, in my cow scale collection of valves, this is a little valve with a right angle with an elbow on it for the top filter press. That probably would not have that little elbow, but it was in there. I had it, whatever. I drilled a hole, I put it in, and I'm done. So the other part of the top is that, run with the conduit coming over. That's probably, I don't know, could it be current transformer outlet? The box right there. Now, what I was going to add, if I can figure out how to do it, let me just put this up and come on. Normally on the top of this unit, it would have, I'm guessing right about here, if that's an outlet, it would have a mechanical pressure relief device. I have the instruction book for the old version, because that changed over time. It would probably be right here, but I need something that's about 1 foot in diameter, exactly 1 foot in diameter, roughly, HO scale. 1 foot, and then on top of that, it kind of narrows down to about 8 inches. I don't know. I'm still thinking about adding that there. If not, whatever. Who's gonna care? So that's the cover. It does have the bolts for the bolted down cover. They're a little bit large, but that's okay. Other than that, it's a nice looking unit. I really can't complain. Other than the couple of the valves, I had to add a valve, and this being too big. Other than that, it's not bad. I did email Class 1 Model Works to ask them about this unit. No reply yet. I don't know if I ever will get a reply, but I hope I do, if those yahoos are out there. Because again, it looks like a GE unit, and if it is a GE unit, and they can give me the serial number off of it, I can get just about any drawing for the transformer that's out there. If they can get me the customer and the size, I probably can search and find it as well. So we'll see if they ever get back to me. Maybe they will. I'm not saying they're not going to, but it's been a day or two and they haven't replied at all. So they could be traveling. I'm sure they're very, very busy. So I get it, but maybe I'll put it in the video if they get back to me later on. So this is what it looks like right now. What I'm going to do now, I have washed it, a little bit of warm soapy water. I'm going to get it in my booth. I'm going to airbrush it. Now for that, I'm going to use, I have this over here. This is my normal transformer for that era paint. It's AK 3rd generation strong dark blue. You can see I've written XFRM for transformer on it. AK11187. This is almost an exact match for the Westinghouse / GE dark blue-gray transformer paint they used. It's close enough. And I'm just lazy. I hate to mix stuff. So, I got a lot of different bottles of paint that I tried. And again, this one's the closest. So the next thing to do is to paint it, see how it looks. I don't know how I'm going to tie it down. Oh, by the way, I do have one of the Class 1 depressed cars coming for the Erie. It's the exact car. It's the right number, except it has roller bearing trucks, which happened in the early 60s as opposed to the solid bearing trucks. Solid bearing, solid friction / whatever you want to call them. I don't know. That it should have from my era. Okay, whatever. Very few people are going to notice. But apparently they're going to make it and make the trucks available, the older solid bearing trucks. So we'll see. So I might swap them out. But I do have that car coming. In fact, it's in the mail. I bought it from Overland Hobbies. I was able to pre-order it for a pre-order price, blah, blah, blah. And it's in the mail right now. I just got the indication, I think Friday, which is yesterday. And I paid for it, and it's in the mail. Supposed to be here early next week. So, okay, regardless. The point of all that was I'm not sure how I'm going to tie this down. I do believe the lifting lugs for the whole unit are a little bit too small compared to the prototype photo. Again, I don't know how close I can get in there, but they just look too small. Normally what they would have on the lifting lug, there'd be like a 1-inch hole through it, and that's where they would bring the rods in that would tie the unit down. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it on this unit, to be honest. They're just not big enough, and there would not be this particular unit with all these radiators. I'm just not sure there'd be something else welded on the unit, and there is nothing in the photos to tie it down. It probably came off of here. I don't know. We'll see. I got to play with that and figure out what I want to do. And again, no one's really going to care if you bring a rod in and bring it down and secure it. Now they do have the bottom. These loads do come with floral wire. They say I haven't looked at it. I'm probably not going to use it. I'm probably going to use some of my painted 010 wire or 015 wire. I'm not sure. From Tichy, I believe. Probably use that as opposed to something flexible like floral wire. All right, so that's the unit there. Let's get it painted, and let's get a look at it after it is painted, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so here is the transformer painted. I got in and painted it yesterday. I made a mistake, though. One thing I should have done is not install the valves until after I painted it. Because if you see the valves that I put in, the lower filter press and then the drain valve here on the LTC, and of course the valve up top, the upper filter press, they're painted. I couldn't avoid not painting them when I was airbrushing this darn thing, but they should not be painted. It doesn't really matter. It isn't the end of the world. I've actually seen it both ways, but these are brass. And even in the real life, they're brass. They're not going to hold paint. Of course, now the main drain valve, the main drain valve should not be painted either, but it's molded in as part of the kit. Now I can come back, and I may do this. I can come back with some brass paint and lightly hit these with some brass, with brass colored paint. That might work. Like I said, there are the handles at the end. I don't know how close I can get before this darn phone will lose focus, but those are the handles there. So I think they look pretty good. Again, the bottom part is this is the control cabinet. This is the low tap changer above, and there is a line scribed in there. It's kind of hard to see now that it's painted, but it's below these upper LTC handles. So that's done. I did add on the cover, right there on the left, right next to the little rectangular box, which looks like an outlet, I put what looks like, it's not perfect. It's not, in fact, it's not even near right. What looks like a pressure relief device. It is out of, the heck is it from? I forget, but it's from somebody that had valve kits. It's actually part of a valve, um, Western Model Railroad or something. I forget, but that's what it is, and it's put there on the cover right now just to kind of be, just drone up a little bit, just to look like a pressure relief device. And that's where it kind of would be, over by that outlet over there. It's a little shaky. So that's that side, and then this far side. I still have not heard back yet from Class 1 Model Works, and they must, I'm going to say must. They probably have prototype photos, because on this side I noticed there's two more of the round outlets on the top, and then there's this bizarre thing at the bottom, which, you know what? If they don't know a lot about transformers, and I'm sure they don't, I mean, just because you're a master model railroader doesn't mean you know a lot about everything. You're probably a master of nothing. But anyway, so they must have either a photograph or something that shows this side of the transformer. So I would love to, I hope they get back to me and I find out. Again, the end is just kind of plain. It's just got the vacuum braces and then the bolted up covers for the radiators. So that's it. So that's it painted. I might stop here. I'm not sure what else I can do. The next thing to do is obviously secure it to a rail car, which hasn't come in yet. I'm not sure what rail car it's going to go on, and I'm still not sure yet how I'm going to secure this puppy. Again, because of the lifting lugs that they gave us are too small. So where I'm going to put the tie downs, I'm not 100% sure yet. But that is the transformer, painted. New valves added, a new pressure relief on the top. Other than that, didn't have to do much to make it look pretty good. Again, kudos to Class 1 for doing a really pretty bang-up job on the transformer. It's yeah, okay, it's not perfect, but again, what do we ever buy that is? But it's pretty darn close. Probably as close as you're going to get for a commercial product to being, pretty much spot on. And that's really, really close. So, okay, more to come as I figure out how I'm going to, that'll be the next video, how this gets mounted to a rail car. That's not really about the transformer itself. That's more about tying it down, getting out of the car, etc., etc. All right, more to come. Thanks for watching. All right, so here's the unit, pretty much ready for the rail car. What I decided to do was I did go back and I repainted the valves in a brass color. So that one down there is painted brass. The main drain is painted brass. The drain on the LTC is painted brass. I also added a little bit of silver here on what I guess is the nameplate. There would be a nameplate on the unit, so that was painted silver. I also, on the top, okay, I painted that valve on the right-hand side there. That's brass. And then I painted what the upper left there is the pressure relief device. Again, that's really, really hokey. It's not real, but whatever. It is what it is. So, this is the unit. Like I said, I probably ought to come back and maybe try to do something with those psych gauges and the other accoutrements, but I'm not exactly sure what they are, so I'm not exactly sure what color they should be, but just leave it like this and be happy with it. And this side, I didn't do much. Again, I assume this side's correct because it looks kind of weird, so they must have a prototype photo. And the end. And then you can see the filter press valve up top. All right, so that is the unit. Pretty much ready for the rail car now. I'm going to assume, and I'm just going to say, it's a new Westinghouse unit. I know it isn't, but who cares? And again, the more I look at it, this liquid level gauge is way, way too big. But I'm not going to cut it off because that would be silly. I should, but I'm not going to. And it would be covered up with something for shipment. But you know what? Whatever. I'm just going to leave it the heck alone. I mean, this unit looks good enough the way it is. So now I just need to figure out, okay, what rail car does it go on and how does it get tied down? That I'm not sure. But for right now, let's take a quick look at the only photo that I'm aware of right now, again, because class one hasn't got back to me yet, that show the prototype of this unit. We'll take a quick look. I'll do a little bit of a talk over and talk about it. And then we'll do, I don't know, something else. I don't know if we're going to do something else or wrap it up and post it. I'm not sure. But let's look at the prototype.
Okay, so here's the photograph of the old transformer as it was designed. This was sent to me. In fact, they did get back to me, both Mike Brusky, who sent me this picture, and Stephen Priest, who actually called me about this. So they did. They are out there. They are reading their email, and I really, really appreciate them taking the time to get back. They're very, very busy. Obviously, they're shipping units. They got their new depressed cars in. They got all the loads in. They're going to I think they're going to the national convention. So they're very, very busy, but they did get back to me. So here is the unit. Now, as I look at this, the biggest thing to me, as you can tell, this load tap changer is not big enough. On the unit, on the model, it's much shorter. It's about half of that. You can tell right here. Here's the nameplate, and man, that sure looks. You can't really zoom much because you kind of lose what you see, but that looks like it says General Electric. So I'm guessing that's a GE unit. I'm guessing. It sure looks like it to me. Here's the drain valve for the LTC compartment that drains the oil out of it. There's the oil level gauge. That's a 6-inch gauge, not the 1 inch, not the 1 foot that's on the model. This appears to be a pressure vacuum bleeder. You can't really tell. They do have the conduit coming off the top right here and running down and picking up a few things, which is pretty much correct. A little bit too large, but it is correct. Um, I said the nameplate. I did change. Here's the lower. I'm calling it a lower filter press. It could be for a bunch of different reasons. Valve. Here's the main drain valve, and they're both significantly smaller than it's on the model, but that's okay. On the model, I left the main drain alone. I did cut off the other valve they had and put on one of the cow scale valves over here. Cow scale or precision scale, I'm not sure. Here is the 4-bolt hole, which I believe mounts the J relay. That was the GE sudden pressure type device at the time. Back in this was probably built, I'm going to say 40s, and it made it into early 50s. I'm not 100% sure. Unfortunately, they don't have the actual serial number, which is right there on the nameplate. I just can't read it. um, they don't even know the customer, or they don't know the size of the unit or anything. But for the most part, it does look pretty darn good. It does have the model does have the resistor housing here. It's a little bit small, but it's there. And this is for the wells for the thermal device. There's a resistor in here that comes off the hotspot CT, and this is how you calibrate the winding hotspot. It's not an exact winding hotspot; it's a simulation of it, and you calibrate it in the field with actual current and whatnot. You can do that. You can do it before it's energized during the commissioning process. So it does look pretty good. It's got the various covers, and they are different sizes. You will notice that, and that's true. That does happen because out in the field, especially, they're going to grab whatever they can grab. You know what I mean? To blank these off. Coming out of the factory, they may be a little bit more the same type size because they cut them all at the same time. They put them on the unit. They ship it out. It's brand new. Blah blah blah. But I think this unit, and this is from the guys at Classic One Model Works, is going back for either scrapping or repair. So that makes sense that they would just kind of cut whatever they had. I've seen even plywood cut for this if it's going back for repair. It's like, what do you care? It's going back for it to be repaired, right? Um, so you can see the lifting lugs. They do look a little bit too small on the unit itself. That's okay. I'm still not sure what those little protrusions are. They did admit the cover on the model is kind of a guesstimate based on other transformers, which is always kind of risky. Because to me, the cover on the model doesn't look quite right. It's got the same size, bushing openings on both sides. I don't think this is an auto transformer. Of course, it could be. And it's got four large manhole covers, I guess, down the center. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But, whatever. I can live with it. I can't see the other side, so I don't know. And I don't know if these guys have a photograph, but the other side of the model has got those two valves at the bottom. One comes out, goes through a pipe, another one comes out to a T, then out to a blanked off section, which I don't understand why that would be there. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just I haven't seen it and I don't know exactly what it is. Because if I had the outline for this, I could most certainly tell what everything is on the transformer, but I don't know that. It does have the control, looks like the control information. I can't tell if this is an OA or an OA FA with fans on these radiators. I'm going to guess it had fans just because of these runs here. Looks like they're going over to the control cabinet, which is the bottom part of this cabinet here, below where that valve is. These large things here are vacuum bracing. That's what they're for. And then the vertical vacuum bracing as well. That's all designed in, and they put it where they need it because of the vacuum forces on the transformer. Most of these are designed for full vacuum filling. That's 14.7, and you never get pure vacuum. We usually go down to about 200 250 microns on the units, but some of the newer larger units, they want you down below 100 microns, and of course 0 microns is pure vacuum, which is pretty darn low. So overall, again, this is the prototype. You can see it's the darker color. So I painted. That's why I painted mine the blue gray color that I use. It's not the newer ANSI 70 light gray. It's on the New York Central car, which may or may not be a model they're going to run next. I'm not sure, but that's it. It's sitting on and they do have the bottom. The base is pretty good. It does sit up a little bit. There's channels across the bottom of this thing on the bottom, so it doesn't sit directly on the pad. That is correct. So overall, it looks. Yeah, I'm telling you what, they did a nice job on this transformer. They really did. Yeah, there's a few things I can nit and pick at because I know transformers, but that's just me. Most people never going to notice. You know, maybe add the valves to make it look a little bit better. Paint them brass, if nothing else. Get the unit painted, put it on a rail car, tie it down. You're good to go. It's a really nice, very very nice load. Congratulations to those guys for doing a good job on this load. So that is my prototype look at the unit. And with that, we'll get back to the main part of the video.
Okay, here's what I may do. And again, this will be another video. This is what I may put this unit on. It looks okay. It's sitting on an exact rail New York Central car. Now it's a Fubi, and this car was allegedly built in 61, if I read the CAPI data, something like that. So it's not right. But what I did do, it's been weathered up. That was done earlier. I retrucked it. It had 36-inch roller bearing trucks on it. I put 33-inch solid bearing trucks on it. You can see from Tahoe Model Works. Is it right? I don't know, but they are 70-ton ASF A3 trucks. So that's 140,000 pounds, which is probably a little bit more than this unit. So it just kind of looks okay. Come back a little bit, sitting on that car. So I'm probably going to use that. I just got to figure out how to tie it down, how to get the bracing on the bottom, the angles to hold it in. Do I use dunnage, wood to hold the car in, like some of the old Westinghouse photographs? I'm just not sure yet, but more to come on that. Again, that'll be the next video, or that'll be a separate video that shows that car as secured to, I think I'm going to use this car because I don't have anything else. And the one that's coming from Class 1 Model Works is a bigger car. I have another large transformer that could go on that, bigger than this one. So this will probably be what I'm going to do. This is the car I'm going to use. All right, anyway, let me just shut the heck up, get this posted. You can take a look. Thanks again for watching. Do appreciate it. And stay tuned for the how we mount this car on the rail car video coming up, I don't know, some point in time, whenever I get around to it.